Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. This scripture seems to have been the summation of my reflection on last week. And it started, I believe it was Monday. The Lord, my wife, who the Lord so graciously granted to be such a blessing in my life, she dropped an appointment book that was from 1991, and I started writing it in January 1st. 1991, I had been living in Mississippi for about 4 months. I had came to go to Bible college. I had been dating Becky, who would later become my wife, for about 2.5 months. And I didn't recall doing this, but I used it not as setting appointments, but just kind of an event calendar of what was happening in real time. And I found it incredibly encouraging, and the things I wrote down, I have some incredible clarity in those memories. I was a pretty fired up, zealous young man, and I wrote down, things that the Lord would prompt in my mind in prayer. I wrote down, I need this much money to pay my bills. I'd write down, I need some work, and then I'd get some work. I'd do the work and pay my bills. This is great revelation stuff, but it was really amazing, and I won't bore you with all of the details. But as I kind of walked down memory lane at this very pivotal moment and formative situations in my life, I can see myself, and I can relive some of those experiences and emotions that I had. Surely goodness. 34 years later, I am reading the thoughts and the praise and the reflections and experiences of my much younger self. And I had many thoughts and emotions rush through my mind, but one of the outstanding ones was if the Lord would allow me to go and whisper in the ear of my younger self and tell him, it's gonna be all right, buddy. Because goodness and mercy is going to follow you. I am a witness. Tuesday night at prayer meeting, I was praying, and in a spirit of prayer, just pouring my heart out to the Lord, I had an amazing spiritual experience. For those of you that believe in that kind of thing, I know some of you have been taught that you should discount those things, but I believe in them. You come too late to tell me they don't happen, because I have lived more than 35 years of experiencing these divine moments that materialize and come to pass. I was praying, and as I was praying, I felt such a tangible presence. Specifically, it's like it was on my back, it was behind me, and it was so tangible. I carefully looked to see if I could see what I was feeling, and I didn't see it with my eyes, and I was somewhat relieved. But it was such a strong, heavy glorious, weighty presence of the Lord. And I've never experienced it quite like this, but it was behind me. It was on my back. And as I meditated on these two events, that scripture was prompted in my mind. Surely goodness and mercy has followed me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. And that is my testimony to this point. The 34 years that have transpired, I've been in church practically every Sunday, and many days in between, interspersed. My life is bookended from week to week, in the middle of the week, and days in between, in the house of the Lord, in the physical house of the Lord, but even to a greater degree in the spirit, in the world that is inhabited. For in Him we move and live and have our being. In Him, by Him, through Him. It's my mantra. It's my life. It's the spirit of ministry that the Lord has captivated me with. It's been my byline. In Him, by Him, through Him. And I'm just thankful today that the Lord has been my shepherd. No doubt that 100% that's His goodness. It's His grace. It is His leading. But I'm glad that I followed Him. and this is kind of a summation of my message yesterday, in that if you will let the Lord be your shepherd, He will lead you beside the still waters. If you will let the Lord be your shepherd, He will prepare a table before you in the presence of your enemy. If you will let the Lord be your shepherd, He will lead you through the valleys of the shadows of death and discouragement and despair. And this morning, it's a little longer than I'd like it to be, but there's a few of you that might still be here. Surely goodness and mercy have followed me, and I know I'm not alone. Thank God for those that have this same testimony. But I just would also like to encourage those of you that, for whatever reason, you haven't quite came to that full persuasion of following the shepherd. If you will, His goodness and mercy shall follow you all the days of your life. I was relating this to a friend of mine. In fact, he wrote in my book. I preached in a service in Mendenhall, Mississippi, 1991, and I wrote preached in Mendenhall with Jeff and Joe Jones, and I guess it was the title of my message, The Big Picture. I probably had preached 3 times. That's probably my 3rd or 4th message I ever preached. The big picture. I called him in response to a text he sent me yesterday morning, Jeff Jones, and I told him what I felt in my heart, what I was going to preach. He reminded me of the scripture where the pillar of cloud that had been leading and would be leading the children of Israel through the wilderness. When they were at the Red Sea, the pillar that was in front of them moved to behind them. And it separated them and the enemy that would destroy them, would enslave them. And it was darkness to the enemy, but it was light to the children of God. The presence that led them went behind them and protected them. God had their back. And I'm thankful I can say that as a personal testimony. The Lord has had my back. Yeah. God bless you real good.